Okay, great. I can see.
You can go ahead. We are live.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining this call. We're so humbled that you took time to join us today. My name is Angela Nguluve. I'm a digital support officer at Africans Rising, in particular under the Pan African Solidarity Unit. And today I'll be your moderator for this town hall. It's not supposed to be a lengthy discussion, it's a town hall where we are just going to talk about African Liberation Week for potential organizers and those that are interested in organizing this year. So basically what we are doing is we're just going to just share in depth what Africans Rising has been doing under the Africa Liberation Week, and we'll be able to share what the theme is for this year. And then also for those of us who are organizing for the first time, we'll be able to understand what types of activities that we can host this year and how you can be supported. So my colleague Prince, who will introduce himself during his presentation, will be able to give this background and just share more. So before we go right into it, I'll ask everyone who has joined us today to just feel free to share your name and which country you're joining us from. You can write in the text. For those of us who are joining us on Facebook, also you can comment on the post and just share your name and where you're joining us from so that we can know which countries are represented today. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm seeing people who are writing already in their chat boxes. In the chat box, thank you, Patience, Word Diva. We are so happy to have you join us today. We're excited that you've chosen to be part of this town hall. And I'm very excited for everyone else who has chosen to be part of this town hall, which just shows that we are ready to organize and we are interested in organizing activity during the Africa Liberation Week that is going to take place this year in May. So without further ado, because we said it's a town hall, it's not supposed to take too long, I'm going to just ask my colleague, Prince, to just introduce himself. And then after his introduction, he's also just going to share with us a brief presentation that is going to highlight the background of where Africa Liberation Week is coming from, what is the theme for this year, what are the activities that we are expecting people to organize this year. And then we'll have a brief session where we'll have just a Q&A so that we can get further information if you are not clear about something. So Prince, I hand over to you. Thanks.
All right, thank you so much, and I'm very happy to be on this town hall today, and seeing all the comrades on the call. I've seen a lot of familiar faces who are maybe I can say twin brothers or twin sisters to Africa Liberation Week. This is going to be the 9th edition of Africa Liberation Week, which started in the year 2017. And over the years, it has evolved and it has also helped the movement to focus on mobilizing people for various activities across the entire continent. Interestingly, I think we have organized an African Liberation Week in every African country. And that's not because Africans Rising is there, but because Africans Rising members over there have been able to put together activities. And so we are very grateful to all the individuals that are actively contributing towards building, the Africa that we want. This year, we are still running the Africa Liberation Week and quite excited about the excitement from, our members. The first thing that we did was to create a feedback form. And the feedback form was to give us an opportunity to hear back from the organizers to know what they make of it, what are the new things that they would want to see going forward, and how they think that African Liberation can become a catalyst for impact in their local communities or even at the grassroots level. So it was exciting to know their views, to also read, their thoughts on how we can achieve this. And that's one of the reasons why we are hosting this town hall meeting, because we want to bring the activity closer to them so that they are also able to know what changes, how we are developing, how we are evolving, and the way forward. Over the past 3 years, we've had a central team that we've all worked together on, which is the Borderless Africa campaign. The Borderless Africa campaign was carved from the 2022 All Africa Movement Assembly, which we hosted in Arusha, Tanzania. And I think for the past 3 years, we've achieved a lot with the campaign. We've seen how other people across the continent are also taking up the same campaign. And it's quite exciting to know that it is the Africans Rising members that lit the torch, that carried the torch for all these few years. And then other people are now taking it over and then also implementing it in diverse ways, of course, which is contributing to the overall advocacy. And it's ensuring that we get our voices heard on the corridors of power and then also the people that matter and the people that can help us make decisions. And of course, get to work on signing the AU policies that are focused on the free movement of people across the entire continent. The theme for this year, I think, is something that we will discuss in length in my presentation. But I would also want to say that if anybody has any questions, you can put it together. Then if you have any ideas that you also want to share, because this is a town hall, because we also want to hear back from you on what you want us to do and what we can do together. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this engagement. Thank you, Angela.
Okay, Prince, thank you so much. And thank you so much to everyone who has put where they're joining us from. I would encourage those that are joining us on Facebook to also just share this live with your different networks, especially with those that you know are interested in organizing during this African Liberation Week that we're going to have in May. So it's paramount that you join this call, you understand, so that even as we are putting out our registration link, I think by tomorrow we should be able to put out our call for registration, asking members to apply and send in their proposals of activities that they want to hold. At least you have an idea of what exactly you can do and what type of activities that we're able to support during the Africa Liberation Week. So thank you so much once again. And thank you. Oh, wow, I see familiar names joining us. Crispin, thank you so much for joining us. So Prince, without further ado, I think we can go right into your presentation so that we can give members enough time to put their questions together. Like you had said, this is a town hall, so we're not really going to focus much on the presentation, but also just sharing information and allowing members to interact and engage and share their questions as well so that they can get clarity. So over to you again. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. I'm sure everyone can see my screen. Okay. So this is the presentation, and as I've mentioned, the theme for this year, Africa Liberation Week, is United Africa, the future we want. And this is inspired from the resolutions that we took at the All Africa Movement Assembly in Accra in the year 2024 about Africans' Rising's definition of what a united Africa should be. And so this is going to be our team going forward, and it encompasses every single thing that we've worked on in the past. It's also taken out from Africans Rising's name. So if you know the full name of Africans Rising, you know that unity is part of our core tenets. So we are about to preach a new level of campaign, of advocacy, and then we are hoping that as members of Africans Rising, we would be able to support this as well. And of course, a united Africa is beneficial to all of us, is beneficial to our children, to our grandchildren. And we've seen what a united continent has done to Europe, to Asia, and then some other parts of the world. But if you look at Africa, 54 different countries, 54 different economies, 54 different currencies, 54 different, everything is different about us. It's making it difficult for the country or for the continent to develop, and as well as the individual countries. We are bothered by resources, but we still have to behave as if the continent is the poorest around the world. So we believe that a united Africa is a future that we want, and then we are hoping that all our members will carry this anthem, will carry this team, and then we'll be able to work together to bring this advocacy also to the floor of power and ensure that we get people well informed about what a united Africa is, the potential it has, and how we can use it to change the fortunes of our continent. The first thing probably that we'll probably want to discuss is, why does this matter? Why it matters is because for the past decades, for several decades now, since the continent started having independence, or since the conference was held in Germany, we've had colonial borders, and these colonial borders have resulted in 54 nations. Which means that we are, even though we are together on the same continent, we are just divided by various lines. Even though we are the same people, we share the same culture, but the lines have just divided us. And today we can see that we can sometimes see ourselves as not one people. So you have someone from Ghana and Togo behaving as if they are from two different continents. So that's why this matters, because if we are on the same continent, we need to see ourselves as one. We've also recognized that there is limited movement across the continent. Limited movement, not only limited to people, but also limited to goods and services. We've had a lot of conversation of the AFCTA, but how are we advising ourselves in a way that we are giving opportunity for goods and services to move around the continent, when the people that are supposed to drive those markets, we are supposed to drive those goods and services across the continent, do not have the ability, do not have the smooth movement across the entire continent. And beyond that, too, we also have fragmented systems where every country has its own policy on every topic, very different. And of course, if there are individual ones who go and start a business in a different country, you have to go and learn all over again about how to implement a new policy or how to adapt. So this disunity on the continent has created fragmented systems where we have units across the entire continent that are working in separate ways, working in different directions. And of course, all those things are affecting the citizens. And Kwame Nkrumah said it, that Africa must unite or perish. And for how many years now we have seen it, that if you look at the development of the world and you look at what other continents are achieving, you realize that Africa is actually going towards the perishing, the perishing line. So I think the only thing that we can actually do to avoid, towing that line, is to be able to unite, and that is the responsibility of you and I. So, what's our foundation as Africans Rise? And I mentioned earlier that we are determined to foster continental-wide solidarity and unity of purpose of the people of Africa. So, we are a movement of people organizations building unity, justice, peace, and dignity. As I've mentioned earlier on, unity is quite strong in our name, and we believe that this campaign is rooted as our foundation as Africans Rising, and it's a responsibility of every member to take it up and preach it and work towards it, so that we can all achieve it together, and we can get our children and our children's children to also benefit. Now, defining the vision, we need to first of all understand what we mean by a united Africa. I've broken it down into three different things. The first one talks about the freedom of movement. So we are talking about freedom of movement of Africans, where we want to be able to move across the entire continent without borders. If you want to move from one country to the other country, you don't have to now be Googling if you are eligible to even visit the country, because you need a visa. So we believe that to have a united Africa, we need a continent that must not have borders. We also identify that to be able to make that possible, then it means we need a central identity as Africans. So we need a single Pan-African passport that can be accessed by all Africans. And this passport should be able to help us to move across the entire continent the same way the Europeans or the same way the Americans can come onto our continent and just move freely without even applying or requiring a visa. We also want a united central bank. We also know about how fragmented our financial system is. We have about 40 different currencies across the continent, and some of these currencies are actually even being controlled by European countries. If you look at the French-speaking countries in West Africa and Central Africa, you realize that their currencies are controlled by France, and that is not a good thing for a united Africa. So for us to be able to unite, we need a central bank and then also a unified currency that we can be able to use across the entire continent to use for transactions, for business, and also to also boost our tourism. And then for economic unity, we also need a free movement of goods and services across the entire continent. We've seen activities of the AfCFTA, but you and I know that it has been impeded by a lot of challenges. And we believe that if we have a united Africa, the AfCFTA should be the most easiest thing that should be able to be that we can implement across the entire continent. I mean, beyond the things that we've discussed, we've seen the security situations across the entire world right now. If somebody attacks a country like, I don't want to mention any name, what is going to be the responsibility of its neighboring country's army to be even be able to intervene in such a situation? So a united Africa means that we also need a Pan-African army or Pan-African army that can help us to secure our lands, to secure what we are doing. And then that also entails that we also need an integrated communication system. And this system should be able to ensure that we are able to move across the entire continent and not be changing SIM cards and have not to be changing internets. And as we all know, all these things help to impede the unity. So this is what we mean by a united Africa. And then we are hoping that we will be able to build this together and ensure that we are able to achieve it together as Africans. This is not a new dream. This is something that has been achieved by a lot of people already and have been spoken a lot in various dispensations. We've had Kwame Nkrumah talking about it. We've had Nyerere talking about it. And then we've also had Marcus Garvey talking about it. So this is not a new thing. This is not a new dream. This is not a new thing that we all want to work on. It is something that we want to do together to ensure that we have a united Africa for everyone. So we want to move from vision to reality. This transformation cannot emerge only from state-led processes. What I mean is we cannot leave the conversation about the unity of Africa to just various governments. It is something that must be imagined, that must be debated and demanded by all of us as Africans, because it's going to affect us. So this is something that you can do by yourself. You have to take an action. You have to go and take an opportunity, join this campaign to make all these demands, because unity must be people-driven, not only government-led. And I am sure that as we are all on this call, we all strongly believe that we as individuals have a role to play in ensuring that we are able to achieve this as a reality. I mean, the discussion can go on, but why does unity matters today? As I've mentioned earlier on, it's going to empower our economies, also going to provide better opportunities for us to trade among ourselves. We will be able to fight for collective peace, security, and also reduce external dependence. And then this will also ensure that Africa has a stronger and a united voice on the global stage. Recently, we've seen the discussions around various committees at the United Nations. And if you look at a committee like the United Nations Security Council, where almost every continent has a representative. But if you look at Africa, not even a single country has a permanent seat on that council. But imagine if we are all united as one. I think that should be an easy thing to bargain for. But because we all have individual visions, we all have different things that we are pursuing, we are unable to fight for such a platform. So if we are able to come together as Africa, come together as a united continent, this should be very easy for us since we will have a stronger voice to campaign or to advocate for anything on the global stage. Linking this to solidarity, we've been working on solidarity issues for a very long time, and we've seen how the unity as an element impedes or prevents a lot of solidarity actions across the entire continent, where even when something is happening in any part of the continent, it's even difficult for even African media houses or even African influencers or people on the continent to even get to know about it, to even advocate for it. So we believe that if we have a united continent, rapid response should be very swift, where if something happens in Sudan, which has been happening for how many years now, we should be able to get more Africans involved in advocating for peace and resolutions in Sudan. We also believe that if we have a united Africa, activists and communities will gain continental protection because, of course, we'll be fighting towards shared struggles because we are all advocating for our continent to develop or to change, to become better. And this will also give us opportunity to have organized power where we can stand together. And standing together means that we can transform our ideas into real change. And this change is not just for us, but it's for the entire continent. And this is one of the things that the disunity across the entire continent has been breeding. So for this year's Africa Liberation Week, we are shifting from just mobilizing, from just organizing people to a collective action. We want to engage members at the very grassroots, and we want to be able to define our future. We want to be able to connect our local realities to a continental vision. What are the things at the grassroots? What are the things in your community that you believe that when we can amend can help us to achieve a united Africa? So as you are coming on board this year, we are very, 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 very much sure that we are moving from just mobilizing, just gathering people, just recording high number of registrations to coming together and working towards a single vision. So this is our call to everyone. We want you to reflect on this. We want you to engage people. We want you to imagine the continent that we deserve. And because you and I have to act and build it together. And that's what we will be doing with this year's Africa Liberation Week. And because we believe it's possible, that's the reason why we want to partner with you. That's the reason why we want to engage you. That's the reason why we want your input in making this campaign a stronger one, in making this campaign an impactful one, in making this campaign a meaningful one, because we believe that if we all come together and fight for this, our voices together will make it stronger. Our voices together will make an impact, and our voices together will be the first sign that we want to be united in Africa. And because we are presenting this is something that we can work with to ensure that other people are doing, will come on board. So what is your role? We want you to be the conveners of the dialogues. We want you to be the ones that will bring together your communities. We want you to be the one that will facilitate the ideas. We want you to be the one that would inspire the next builders of African consciousness that will be able to come together and say that, hey, African unity is what we want, is what we deserve, and that's the future that we want. And from us as Africans Rising, we will be putting our supports to all our members, because we also want to help you to implement these ideas on the grassroots level so that it can inspire other people, so that we can have a unified voice for this campaign. What does success look like for us? I mean, the biggest success that we can see is having our ideas coming full reality. We want to be able to translate this into community conversations, because we want, when this conversation becomes common all over the continent, I believe that we can all put our ideas together when this conversation goes across the entire continent, then we all can start building that Pan-African vision of unity to know what a united Africa will look like. And this will also help us to build stronger solidarity systems and also ensure that grassroots leaders are more empowered, have more knowledge about what we are preaching, and then they can also be able to inspire other people on this journey. So you and I are moving from having these conversations because we want to take an action, because we want to build something that people across the continent will one day see and know that, okay, this is something that has been built by Africans for Africans, and it's simple about African unity. We are not advocating for the unity of any other continent, but we are advocating for the unity of the continent that we live in, the continent that gives us life, the continent that gives us every single thing or every single opportunity to make a change towards it. So I want you guys to join. I want you comrades to join us. I want you guys to support Africans Rising on this journey. I want you to help us to mobilize. I want you to help us to share this campaign to all the communities. Last year, I think we had about 1,000 registrations that wanted to participate in Africa Liberation Week. This year, as I've mentioned earlier on, we are focusing on that as well, and also focusing on ensuring that we have 1,000 conversations across the entire continent discussing African unity, putting the ideas together, and ensuring that we are able to come up with a central vision of what a united Africa can be and what you and I can contribute towards it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Prince, for that presentation, for diving deep into what Africans Rising is, what the Africa Liberation Week is about, and what members can actually, what actions they can actually organize. I think hopefully we've been able to understand what exactly it is that we're being called to do, and what it is that this African unity we're talking about from Africans Rising perspective, what it looks like, and what we hope organizers can embark on. So from the presentation, we have heard that we can organize activities from community dialogues to youth debates. So activities that you'll be able to submit should be those that we can actually look at and document and be able to work around with. So, like Prince mentioned, this year we're looking at transforming our approach of Africa Liberation Week organizing, moving from conversations to actually having solid data that we can actually use for solidarity actions, to strengthen solidarity actions, and even for other actions that can help to strengthen different initiatives that Africans Rising is doing. So with that, I hope we are able to now, we have a better understanding, but then I'll ask us to just feel free to ask questions. This is a session where we're going to have questions, and we'll be able to respond to your questions in case you don't understand something, in case you want to get clarity on something. So feel free to just, Maurice, are they able to show, lift their hands to show that they want to ask questions? Are we able to see that? And are we able to unmute them?
Yes, if they raise their hand, we can allow them to talk.
Okay. So if you have any questions, feel free to just raise your hand, and then we'll be able to give you access to ask your question. Any questions? Okay. Do you see any questions? Any hands raised? Okay, I see no questions. So when we don't have
There's a
questions, the
question
assumption.
in the chat.
Okay.
I think there's a also hand that has been raised. Okay, there are a couple
Two
of
hands.
hands raised as well.
Okay, Crispin, I'll allow you to talk. Please go on and ask your question. Thanks.
Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Prince, for this spaces about this Africa Liberation Week, the activity action, or just ongoing or this time. So I would like to be sure about the kind of actions, activity you are just planning to be done in this year, differently on the past year, what you have just done it. Yeah, if is there any difference about this the activity what you are just going on ground this year or what? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so the African Liberation Week is mostly like grassroots led. So we don't necessarily dictate what activities that you can organize. So the decision is up to you. We will of course provide you a toolkit that can give you ideas on what and what you can do. Previously, some people have organized football matches, some people have organized workshops, some people have done town hall meetings, some people have done speaking to students about African unity, some people have done poetry, some people have done debates in schools. So we believe that some of these activities are things that you can also pick up, but we are also putting together toolkits. And all of this will be ready tomorrow when we open applications for registrations for African Liberation Week. So yeah, the ball is in your court. We just want innovative ideas. We just want ideas that we believe can relate to what African unity is in our local communities. So of course, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Crispin. Thank you so much, Prince. I think the emphasis there also is what is different this year is that we are looking forward to receiving data from your activities because we want to use this data to influence our programming and our strategies, like Prince mentioned, around building solidarity. So the biggest emphasis that we want is that as you implement your activities, you really need to submit reports that are capturing the data on the ground, because we won't be able to know what your activity was all about and what the community members envision a united Africa as if you do not share this data. So we need to capture data from the ground, what your discussions that will happen. We need you to document and share this data with us, which we'll then be able to use in our different programmings. As you know, this year we're having the AMA, and some of this data that will come from the Africa Liberation Week will be able to advise some of the things that we are working towards as we are planning towards the AMA. So I will give Mwaka access to also just ask their question. Mwaka?
Hello, can you hear me? Just to check
Yeah.
first of all. My
Yeah.
question is, are simultaneous submissions allowed? So let's say you submitted an app proposal for one institution, but also would like to submit to this. That is all.
Can you clarify?
Okay, so a simultaneous, let's say you've written a proposal and you submitted it for a grant, and then you also wanted to submit for this, for the coming African Liberation Week. Is that allowed?
So yeah, so African Liberation Week, I think it's a people led initiative. So we don't necessarily control what you can do on the grounds. And the most important thing is what you are doing aligns with what we want to achieve. So I think
Okay.
as long as it aligns, there is no problem at all. We are not taking credits for what you're organizing, not at all. We don't do that. In fact, we always recognize that these are actions that people are taking by themselves. So as long as it aligns with what we are doing, of course, you can go ahead and share with us. And of course, as long as it's going to impact, going to generate the results, we are good to be on board. But if there are any other further clarifications that you need to give, I think that would also be important so to avoid any conflict of interest with maybe a potential funder that you have for your from your grants. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mwaka. Eunice, you can go on and ask your question or make your contribution. Thanks.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Hi, good
I'm
evening.
happy to be here. I think what Mwaka is asking is Mwaka is a member of the Reparations Action Group, and she had shared that she would like to request for support for something she is doing. So what she's wondering is if she submits a request for the support in the campaign and advocacy unit, is
Okay.
she still eligible to request for support to do the African Liberation Week activity?
Oh, okay. So yeah, so at Africans Rising, African Liberation Week involves all our programs. Of course, I think you just probably have to inform maybe the unit lead or any member that you are working with, and I'm sure they'll be able to guide you on how to work around it. Yeah. So that's not a problem at all. As with the aside the central team, which is the United Africa, that the future we want, we are still have the opportunity for you to do campaigns on reparations, on borderless Africa, on gender justice, on whatever topic that you deem fit. So of course, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Prince. Thank you, Eunice, and thank you, Grace. I'll allow Benta. I've given you the mic. Please unmute yourself and ask your question. Thanks. Benta, you have the mic. Okay. I gave them a mic, but it seems maybe he or she has forgotten. That's fine. Do we have any other questions? I'll just read from the chat. Thank you, Patience, for your contribution. Mine is not a question, but appreciation of the clarity given on the purpose behind Africa Liberation Week. I love the simplicity of the presentation. It makes it easy to understand and also teach. Great. Thank you so much for your contribution, Patience. Pendile, thank you so much also for your contribution. Thanks for the clarification. Okay, great. So basically, if we do not have, do we have any other questions? If we do not have any other questions, I'd like to just emphasize that this year we really need you as organizers to really document your activities, because we cannot know what a united Africa looks like and what the Africa you want looks like from your community if you're not able to document what exactly happened and to share clearly what exactly your community members see as the future of Africa in relation to the theme. But then also I'll take this opportunity to also just share some of the pros and cons that we are, some of the things that we're looking forward to as you're submitting your report. Of course, this is something that we'll go in depth with as we select those that will participate. So for those that are planning to organize in your activities, we highly encourage you to not really engage children, to take pictures of children as you're submitting your reports. But these are some of the things that we'll be able to share in depth once we do a selection and once we choose the participants that will be able to organize different actions across Africa. So we are excited and we are looking forward to having massive registration. Our registration for Africa Liberation Week opens tomorrow. So after this session, we hope you can brainstorm on the sessions. We really want impactful actions and impactful activities. So we're hoping you'll be able to brainstorm tonight. And as we open the registration tomorrow, you can then submit the innovative actions that you're hoping to do, and we'll be able to contact you once we start reviewing the applications. We'll contact those that will be successful, and then we'll further engage and give more information on how we'll be able to support and any other supports that you will need from us. So thank you. I just wanted to make sure that I clarify the importance of the data capture, so that even as you are submitting, just keep it in mind that we really want your data. We really want to understand what happened, what was achieved, what you look forward to. Yeah. Thank you so much. I'll give this opportunity to Prince to just give any closing remarks before we can close off. Prince. before Prince, Benta, you can go on. I'm giving you access also. You can unmute yourself. Thanks. Please ask your question. If you're not able to speak, you can feel free to type it. Benta, we can hear you. We can get something from your mic.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I was
Great.
having trouble with my mic. So I was wondering, I had initially expressed interest requesting for Africans Rising to help us or grant us do an activity, and had shared through the engagement email under a different theme. So I was really interested if now that Africans Rising has a different theme, if I can rework on my proposal, and definitely to meet what has been shared here, am I still eligible to apply? Or now that I'll be having two proposals with different themes might not make me eligible? Asante.
Asante sana, Benta. Prince, do you want to respond?
Yes, as we've said, Africans Rising, the African Liberation Week is not just focused on this team. This is a central team, but people can work on various other things that they want to. And then also the only means of applying is through a Google form. The reason is because we want to have all the registrations in one central document. So I believe you can still prepare your idea, and then tomorrow, when we open the applications, it's very easy. You just submit it using the Google form, because it gives us an opportunity to be able to also scout for the best ideas that we can also support. But another thing that I also want to state is that we support all the ideas that are submitted for Africa Liberation Week. There is no discrimination, there is no selection, or anybody can go ahead and do it. The only thing that sometimes we are faced as a challenge is maybe the restrictions of supporting almost everyone, which is likely not possible because of everybody's individual budget or commitment that they want. So yeah, I believe that you can still submit it, even if you're not selected. One of the reasons why we even start early is that as you are submitting your idea, you should also start on working on how to raise support for yourself or for your activity locally. So beyond Africans Rising supporting you, you should also be able to start looking for how local people or local organizations or local NGOs in your community can also support your idea and make it a better one. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prince Muleki. I'll allow our solidarity officer to also just share before we can close. Muleki?
No, thanks, Angela, and greetings and thanks, Prince, for the presentation. I think it has assisted in clearly outlining what is the objective of Africa Liberation Week. No, mine is not necessarily a comment on the context, but I think the question around the submission of different applications, because I think the first person, I don't know whether it was Patience, no, not Patience, but I think this is the second question. I may be misunderstanding, but I think the question is around the applications that have been made for different themes or different programs. And I think maybe there may be a mistake of conflicting the two issues. I think those who've submitted or wishes to submit applications for different activities or themes must not conflate, or we must not conflate those applications with this one. I think that's my understanding, that maybe as the submissions are made, they are not necessarily aligned to these ones, and I think they'll be dealt with differently from the applications of Africa Liberation Week. I'm not sure if that's a correct understanding. I'm sorry, correct understanding that I'm having. Thanks, Angel.
Thank you so much, Mleki. Yeah, so I hope this is clear that of course you can submit. I think Prince tried to label on that. We can submit different applications for different programmings under Africans Rising. But one thing we must always take into, we must note is that as we are submitting proposals or applications for the Africa Liberation Week, make sure that your application is in line with the theme of the Africa Liberation Week and is an activity or an event that will be able to achieve the objectives of what Africa Liberation Week is trying to achieve this year under the theme of the United Africa, the future we want. So thank you so much, Leki, for just laboring on that. Thank you so much, Prince. Before I go to Prince for the last remarks, I would like to just apologize to our French speakers, Portuguese speakers, for not having translation, but I'd like you to take note that tomorrow, as we open the registration link, we have customized the registration to accommodate French speakers, Portuguese speakers. So French speakers, Portuguese speakers, English speakers will have different links that they will use and apply according to your different languages so that you can easily express yourself and express your idea accordingly without any limitations of language. So thank you so much. Over to you, Prince, as you close off with the closing remarks. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Every year we do this together, and I'm looking forward to read your ideas, and I think those ideas are very powerful. And if we commit to them, we can achieve a lot for our continent. I'm believing that we can also get more support to extend to everyone that needs it. And the support that we give goes beyond money. Please take note of that. The support we give goes beyond money. But the real thing is we want to see impacts on the ground. We want to help you to create ideas. We want to see some of you starting your organizations right from this Africa Liberation Week, where you are able to conceptualize an event or an activity, and then it grows into becoming something that your community can rely on. And of course, something that can contribute to the team of for United Africa. So we are looking forward to your participation, and this is going to be the first of many meetings for this year's Africa Liberation Week, and we are hoping that we will achieve a lot together. Thank you so much, and a United Africa is the future that we want. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining this call. We look forward to receiving applications tomorrow. Good evening, good morning for those